that to New England. Um, but it's all right. You know, just chilling right now. Molly Quorum, I gotta read about that. Molly Quorum, 500,000. But what I think about that, I might have to talk about that. We'll get into that. I don't know. I'm so mad with them Bills last night. I don't know what to do though. Just messed me up last night. Losing that game last night. Anyway, got this live stream on. So we just coming on back. Just in chill mode. We are live. What's happening? What's happening? How you doing? Cool kid, what's up? What's up? What's going on? How y'all doing today? Thank you for coming through. Send all my notifications. What's happening? Well, I told you I was gonna come on. What's happening? I told you I was gonna come on. I told you today I was gonna come on. I got back. I got some stuff today. I'm not gonna be on tomorrow. Wednesday I'll be on. So, you know, I'm on. Yeah, well, what ended up happening was because I got a lot of stuff done. I've been working on some other stuff, so I just decided to come on. I was working on some projects. I got some projects I'm working on, so you know me, always working on some video. So that's why I'm on early. The only reason why they raid Tyrese's mama's house is there's something going on. I don't know nothing about Tyrese. I don't know. I don't know nothing about what he doing. I have no idea. You know, Tyrese got some stuff with him, but I don't know what's up. Can't say. You know, he got to be careful though. So if I'm Tyrese, I'll be cool. No, I'm not. And don't ask nothing stupid. I don't support nothing to deal with no Trump, so please don't say nothing dumb in here. You're trolling? You trolling me? You gonna come in here trolling, you gonna have to go asking some stupid question. I'm MAGA. Can't stand that idiot. I ain't one of them. I don't like nothing about Trump at all. I have no respect for him at all. He's an idiot, racist, and I don't have nothing to good to say about it. Never, never. It's funny too, because I'm gonna share something. They're getting old Ronald Reagan clips coming up, how he was more about immigration. And Reagan was one of the worst people to ever step in the White House. But it's funny how this thing is working. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. And it's a sorry commentary what's going for people today. These people here are more ignorant and hateful and spiteful. This is what they're about. Please. I can't relate to it. I can't relate to it at all. I can't relate to it. Uh, can't do nothing with it. Well, first of all, I don't. I know because the people out here be ignorant, and I don't know what anybody would condone what's going down. That's the distractions. And we all talk about the Epstein files. That's just a distraction. I know what he's doing, and that's another reason why. I peeped out what's up. He doesn't own himself. Because the whole thing with Musk and Putin, eh, it is scary, and people getting hoodwinked by that garbage. Trips me out. They're getting hoodwinked and they don't care. That's the scary part. They don't care. So, oh, it was the last days of times. If I had to pick out those three, I'm taking ACDC. I love their rhythm section more. And that's really what it comes up. Motorhead could play loud, and they were, you know, and Iron Maiden was cool, but ACDC, and them cats had grooves. They had grooves. Yeah, if I had to pick out that, I'm taking AC/DC. If I have to pick out that. But yeah, we've been dealing with uncertain times for a long time. This ain't nothing new. People want to be political. They want to be divisive. That's what's up. All right, so the Molly Quorum, we got some Molly Quorum situation. Okay, cool. Molly Quorum. So let me answer my question that I put up about Molly Quorum. She ain't Vanna White, so she ain't gonna get what she thinks she's gonna get. You know, 500,000 sounds good to me, but it wasn't enough for old Molly. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. You know, that bag be kind of funny. I don't know what to tell you, but you ain't gonna get but so much. So, you know, some people think they gonna get this big stuffed bag because I don't know, and people don't understand how the big industry works. They don't. They don't. She doesn't have personality. She's not decent looking woman, but it's not like someone's jocking her. I said it before. She more J Lo than she is Jennifer Lopez. She doesn't have a dual personality. You gotta have a dual personality to pull that loop. Devastating? Burning down the house. That's a dub. Come on now. Whitney and Bobby were kind of two peas in the same pod, and things can happen. But that burning down, that was the craziest thing then. That was crazy then. I mean, you hear it now, and it still sounds crazy. I mean, there ain't no and buts about it. That was crazy then. That's not even up for discussion. And then she burnt the bed. I mean, Whitney and Bobby, you expect that. But that thing with Andre and Lisa was crazy. Crazy. I did too. She had personality. Only problem was you couldn't really sell her as a solo artist, but she definitely had that it though. I dug her a lot too. You know, but again, crazy business, crazy reality. You know, anything goes in that industry, so you know how it go. Most people are not thinking that Molly Corman is getting a bad deal. I'm not surprised. They didn't really respect her talent. So, Jenny Jones. In fact, I had a little crush on Jenny back in the day. I like Jenny. Ricky Lake was corny. Ricky Lake was one of those kind of people that tried too much. But what I will do is I'll make that into a future. I'm gonna do that as a future video. Uh, Ricky Lake was one of those kind of people that happened to get hooked up, and she was okay, but it was like somebody got hooked up and then they just didn't know what to do with themselves. She was all right, but Jenny Jones had more style. Jenny actually put more acts on too, because Usher came on there her show. He was dancing without the. I remember when he used to dance without his shoes on. That was his trademark when he first came out. Well, not when he first came out. The second album, he started dancing without the socks. I'm dancing right now. I ain't dancing like more than this. I just bop. That's a dance right there. There you go. That's what you get. I just doing the head dance. I ain't doing no, head dance. Um, she kept a smirk because she had to deal with a lot of politics. Thank you. Thank you. She had to do a lot of politics. Jenny was trying to do some stuff that wasn't cool at the time, so they didn't like her. Keep on hitting them likes up, by the way. Smash up them likes. Yeah, so we just, you go through things, that's all. Out of those two, that's a great question. Oh, that's a good one. Um, I gotta probably say April because it means springtime. August meant personal things for me. So that's a good question. I never got asked that one before. I like them both. I like them both. Anyway, that's a good question though. Could ask that. Good question. Like it. Trying to get this thing going right. It just be acting funny. Anyway, so Molly Quorum, that's okay. 56, 50, 54, 46. A lot of people voting. I think that the problem again with her is that the ones that are saying that it's too low, I'll say this: as long as she was on that network and the impact of all the traveling she had to be as a one up with Stephen A. and other stuff, she probably should have gotten paid a little bit more. But then again, I don't think she was she got nothing extraordinary. But it's a trip when I look at it though. Brittany Madonna, if you're gonna go by that logic, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because she had a movement about her. Madonna was actually playing second fiddle to Cyndi Lauper. A lot of people who, unless you were around, don't know that Lauper was bigger than Madonna. She did We Are the World. She was bigger and she was huge. Brandy ain't never been on Whitney's level. Never. Usher ain't never been on Michael Jackson level. There was nothing there. They didn't come out the box bigger, and Beyonce didn't come out the box bigger than Michael. But the Britney Madonna one, I can definitely say that. And that to me is a no brainer of that list. Hold up. What's happening? What's happening? How you doing? What's happening? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? I just had to make a quick stop. Yeah, Charlene. I mean, Cyndi Lauper was bigger than Madonna once upon a time, and if you weren't around to understand that, it may sound kind of crazy. Girls just want to have fun because when Madonna did that, like a virgin, and she was on that floor and all that, she was coming up, but it wasn't until '85. That's when the game changed. That's when the machine went into Madonna overdrive. Remember, she came out on R&B aesthetic. First album, dance, disco, you know. And it didn't really change. That's the machine didn't really crack for Madonna until like 85, 86, especially when that True Blue and Poppin' on Pre. That's when the shift kicked in. And then Madonna could do no wrong. She was putting out songs and all that. And she was hitting. So, but yeah, for a while, Lauper had her beat. Because time after time, she had some big time songs. So, you know. Marilyn Manson. Because Gaga's routine was just a routine. It's just but Manson, yeah, yeah. And Marilyn Manson was considered more over the top for his time. In fact, I'll make that into a video. That was the thing. Marilyn Manson was like one of the last, I would say. I'll use that for a future topic. So if you were going by, yeah, more, I'd say consider more over the top. I won't say insane because Manson had a routine that he did. He wasn't like some deep, but it was no different than Alice Cooper. He's acts, they do be doing that Illuminati, be practicing stuff, and then they walk into something and then it has a dark undertone overture. But, it's, you know, it's a lot of acting. It ain't really what you think it is, but then again, it is what you think it is. If that can make some sense, so they be acting a lot. That's what they do. So yeah, what part of a house keeps more junk? Junk? Um, Probably a garage. Um, Thing about basements, it depends on what your basement's like. Alleyway depends on people recycling. In the backyard shed, well, people depend if they got greenhouse. I'd say the garage. I've noticed the garages have stuff that you couldn't even imagine, and it's stockpiles and all kinds of stuff. So I'd probably say a garage, if I'm gonna be honest. That's an interesting question. Interesting. That's an interesting one. Okay. Keep your questions coming because you got me. And people on keep on smashing up that like too. And it's good to see we got quite a few voters out here. It's not a super blowout, So Molly Quorum got some fans. Mm. Mm. Yeah, I had to say garage first. Mm. Basement. Um, triangle for me. Triangle for where I've been. Triangle. I could be wrong. Could be wrong. What's happening? How you doing, man? Thank you for coming through. I thought. Oh yeah. Oh, you an apology because what you UCLA? Oh, and I heard that James Franklin they want him fired. So you called that. I was wrong. I thought Penn State was gonna win that game. Man, that was that. Damn, they butts in trouble because they still got to play Ohio State and they got to play Michigan. So he might get like the Tonka Bowl. He might fool around and get the Turnpike Bowl. I don't know. He messed up now. I don't know. It's gone all to pieces now. Pretty much. I mean, so when you ask me that, yeah, that's like y'all ain't gonna lose to UCLA, and then go out there and lose. And I thought about you. I was like, oh man, because I was on last night and I was looking for you, and I was like, oh man. I said he called this mess. I said, dang, James Franklin. Oh Lord. Yeah, they gonna pretty much get the Hot Wheels Bowl. They got they got that Ohio State loss coming. I think Michigan playing, so they got a couple more. They got a couple more L's coming. Now I know you're not a Penn State fan. It's just that I was tripping because UCLA. I was like, ain't no way the UCLA gonna win this game. I figured they put up a good fight, but woo, put a 40 burger on them. Oof, oof. And see, I'm gonna tell you something. You can put a 40 burger on somebody week 1 or week 2, but when you're doing it like week 5 onward, you suck. Especially when a team ain't really was already on down on their luck, you suck. So James Franklin, he might they gonna have to pay him like Benjamin. Okay, let me address those two because you didn't see my video. I did my football takes. Now that Titans one got me only because of the way the Cardinals that fumble in the end zone. That was one of the most saddest, sorriest pieces of things I've ever seen in my life. How do you intercept the ball, lose the ball, and other team recovers it? I'm just that's Arizona doing ways to lose. No, the Ravens don't have Ryan Cooper. Ain't he? There's a big difference when you don't have Lamar Jackson. That's not a surprise. They suck because they suck. Their coach sucks. He needs to be fired. That's another 40 burger game they gave up. They got waxed by Buff. They lost that game. Gave up 40 burger. Gave up 40 burger last night. And Uh, 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 who else they lost to? I mean, they've been giving up points like crazy. Kansas City put a third. You're averaging getting up 35 points in your losses. You suck. You suck. Because you're not losing. You're getting tattooed. Teams are just taking off on you. So the Harbaugh need to go. And you know, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. But I'm not shocked though. They don't have any defense. Derrick Henry's looking shot right now. They get knocking the ball loose. They fumbling. They turn the ball. They're not a disciplined team. That's not a championship team. So you play like garbage, you're gonna smell like trash. That's all I can say about them. Mm-hmm. So I'm not shocked. If you've been watching them, the fact that Lamar is a huge integral part, and they don't protect him as it is, so they really in trouble. But it's okay though. Well, like I said before, that's quitting on the coach though. They're just not a good team. That's all. You know, at this stage, you can find out what you're working with. Now, he got every right to shake his head. He made one of the worst mistakes. He probably lost hair and he had no hair. They suck. Okay. Justin Fields is playing like him feels. Okay. It's just not good. They are a horrible team. They suck from head to toe. There is no hope for them. Every game they give up 35 points. Every game they get blowed out. Mm, probably the middle and then the thumbs up. Who ran the ball well against you? You talking about the Jets against the Cowboys? Everybody can run on Dallas. Problem with the Jets is that they don't have no plays. They don't play no defense, and they self they just a horrible team. They're a garbage team. It was a garbage team. There's no reason in that league you should be some 0-5 unless you're just not trying. And they're headed towards a horror that you can't even imagine. And what you want, a cookie because you beat a scrub team? What you want? You want some brownies for that? Shh. I don't hear no Cowboy fans getting excited about beating the sorry Jets. We beat they butt 30-3, and I didn't even feel nothing about that because I was like, duh. I mean, they suck. Maybe the Giants, and I don't even know. I mean, maybe they suck. It's brutal. It's brutal. It's brutal. It's brutal. And I like Justin Fields too, but they suck though. I mean, they suck. They suck so bad that it's like they might not win a game. And they don't deserve to win the game the way they are. I mean, they're one of the worst teams I've seen. The Giants ain't let them do nothing. The Giants suck. Shoot, that Dart is horrible, okay? And Russell Wilson or Jameson gonna get that job back. Are you kidding? They suck. Shh. Shh. They need they need Joe Namath. Uh they need anybody that can put a jersey on. They got a big old help wanted sign. They suck. Yeah, well, people like to be zombies to whack records. So what you want? Psh, ain't nobody I know buying that mess. Nobody. But again, I don't talk about somebody that I don't mess with. Heart, heart, heart all the way. I don't know. What does it? I don't understand what you mean by that question. One should choose a YouTube niche. I mean, some people do that already. I refuse to do that. Because when I do my channels, I cover a wide range. I can't just do just one thing. That'd be too limited to me. And life don't rotate off of oneness. So I do. So I always say follow your passions. My motto is always about follow your passions. You may not be as popular, but that don't mean someone ain't watching. I can only speak for myself, but if you watch my channels and my style of videos I do, I cover a wide range of topics, and that can be all in one day. I might shoot 4 or 5 videos, and they gonna be all about different topics, but that's just how I am. Yep. Thank you, TSP. I don't have no limitations about what I do for as creativity, so I don't believe you should. Sadly, it's Nike. Sadly, TSP would show up at the Yankees getting their butt toe up. Hope you happy. They getting thumped. Their series is over. I ain't forget about nothing. Getting they butt toe up. 23-8 in the first 2 games. That's a football score. Man, look. Hey, you been waiting on this one. I knew when Aaron Boone was celebrating after beating Boston in the locker room with champagne. I'm like, oh Lord. You ain't won nothing. Yes, I'm glad you beat Boston, but let's not get ridiculous. That's because this whole analytics thing. This whole analytics thing. And that's why your boy with the six, Daryl Moyer, got a job now. Well, Nike, you asked me for sports, and that's for sports. Most people associate basketball with Nike. That's like the logo. I don't know. My friend texted me saying she was so distraught. And yeah, well, listen, I'm a Yankee fan, but I ain't taking it that personal. Could be Jordans. I don't really pay attention to what they rap about. Yeah, well, there's money in it, and that's all people care about at the end of the day, and it's been sold, and it's part of corporate. Um, I respect his business acumen. I wouldn't. I don't know about say genius. I think he was smart. He had a stick that worked, but he didn't get the love for it. System are down. It's a down. I think they're gonna be good. They need him to win, and it puts their defense in place. So I think it's a welcome sight. None of them, and most of them are from back in the day. Back in the day, I would have probably told you like Barry White, somebody that would have said what they felt. I don't like watching artists get interviewed. Most of them be lying, and they give you jive. The best interviews are the people you don't think. Who's releasing hit interviews and topics? Oh, yeah, Easy could sell. He was a heck of a salesman. But he got hustled too. You know, um, Jerry Heller hustled him, played on him. Um, You know, what's wrong with the Chargers? The Chargers are the Chargers. Harbaugh is coaching up good, but Herbert be making too many mental mistakes. His checks ain't good. Their defense is suspect, and they play everything tight to the vest. Herbert is a better quarterback than what he's getting. He needs to be. If he had somebody like Sean Payton or Andy Reid or somebody who could really let him loose, or had he gone to Miami, you'd be looking at. You might be thinking Marino 2.0. He's stagnant there. Chargers are stagnant. And so they're limited. And so when he gets caught trying to make something happen, throws bad picks, takes bad sacks, the defense folds, they're doing what they usually do. As far as the Bills go, they can't stop the run. They're too conservative on offense. They got some pieces they need to replace. And until they get really hit in the mouth where they lose, then they won't. You know, it's cringe, yo. Come on now. It's horrible. I don't like it at all. It's cringe. It's just a and what it does is manipulating people into thinking that how about we do this and it's not who shows less respect and how much for the pioneers before them. Oh, male rappers do. Female rappers don't really get a chance to talk about it. But the thing about it with female rappers, they still in concert with who came within a certain time. But the male ones, the diss is real. Only a big surprise because they beat the Bills in Buffalo, but not a surprise in the sense that the Bills self imploded and made mistakes. And one thing about the Patriots, they're not going to make they're coached up enough. You have to understand they are an average team for a reason, but if you let them stick around, they'll beat you. If you can't stop the run, they'll beat you. If you turn the ball over, they'll beat you. And if you don't expose the tears of them, they'll beat you. No, no. No, it's a matter who can get hot at the right time. That's what it is. Well, I'll tell you like this: keep your eye on Kansas City, especially if they beat Jacksonville tonight. Watch out. That's all I gotta say to you. Yeah, and that's what some executives want. It's like two women in the mud wrestling. That's all that is. That's industry. They're hoping to do a female version of Kendrick Lamar and Drake. That's all that's about. There ain't no real beef. 'Cause first of all, they almost out of the same era for one another. And the other thing is they both had different situations. I'm not sold on Bo Nixon, but I think that that team is good enough to be a playoff team, but I'm not sold on I don't think they championship though. Nearly all of them in a different way. Cause she had a flow about her. Excuse me, I'll be back. She had a flow about her. She had a flow about her. Okay. I'm back. I just got back. Okay. Colts, yeah. The Raiders are complete toast under Pete Christmas Carol. Carol should never came back. If you cats watch my live videos, I know if you did because I did a video about the NFL and I said I've been saying a recurring theme about Geno Smith. He quarterbacks for both teams, except he gets paid for one. That's my recurring theme. He don't get it. He don't get to quarterback both teams, but he does it every Sunday. You throwing picks left and right, you don't get to wear that. The Colts have a team that can go to the playoffs. They didn't quit on Geno. Geno sucks. Geno Geno is one of those guys who sucked early part of his career, and I don't know if he drug tested in Seattle or what, and he had this out of body. Yeah, he be playing for both teams. He think when Michael Vick was in federal prison, remember Michael Vick quarterback both teams? You know how that is. Sometimes you play in touch football in the streets and you get to quarterback both teams, except you only getting paid for one though. You can say that about Nikki, but this is the thing. She ain't wrong about everything. She ain't wrong. Oh, but you want someone to talk a good game to you on the interviews and then he sucks. No. So if you watch my video, I was wrong. He making Belichick look bad. And again, Kyle Shanahan, can you do something with him in the postseason? Can you? Because I'm looking at him. He look good. He look good. They look good. The best move he made was the same move that ended up costing him. That's buying that catalog for the Beatles. That was the most gangsterous move because he owned something, but they didn't want him to have it. But that was the smartest move any artist has ever made. No, that's why we like the NFL. It's unpredictable. Except let's keep it 100. Carolina ain't going to go on a 12-game win streak. But if Bryce Young, who looks backwards, and they find a way to win, is crazy. I don't know because the mac and cheese is balling like that. Brock Purdy don't look. They got rid of Trevor. They got rid of Trey Lance, so they Brock Purdy could be on the way. I don't know. He did lead them to a Super Bowl, but I don't know. But the problem I have was Kyle Shanahan should be on the hot seat. You keep getting these guys, but you ain't winning. No, well, that was already going to be on the cards, but the business move was what I remember. Yeah, Carolina winning that game was like, wow. And Tua actually balled, and so Miami sucks. Napoleon Dynamite got to go as a head coach. Napoleon ain't but something. I don't know why he still got a job. He sucks. They suck. They suck. Because Shador's daddy, because they want to teach Shador a lesson. And they don't want him, they didn't like the NIL, driving around with a Rolls Royce and being they didn't like that. Back in the day, British Knights was the thing on the streets, but LA Gear was the way to be. Uh, God, that's a toughie. Let me think. Ooh, 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 Tennessee, they suck. They suck. Cause I don't even know how they beat Arizona. They suck. They do suck. They suck. So, um, they don't have no defense. There's no cohesion, and I think that you know it's you got to have the talent. You got to have the pieces in place. He doesn't have anything to work with. I hate to say it that Dion doesn't have. There's nothing there to work with. They suck. Marley Quorum got 50-50. Um, if it's the NBA, if I could pick a head coach to start an NBA franchise, I'd want somebody like Red Auerbach because that guy really got it right. And if it's an NFL head coach, Tom Landry or Shula. Hmm. It's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough because the Aces look almost unbeatable. It's gonna be tough. Okay, and if you want me to say a modern day NBA coach, who would I take? Hmm. Alligator also had the Michael Jackson commercial. That's where what's her name? Molly Jovanovic. She was a she was in one of those commercials. The LA Gear ones, I remember. Um they were about it, and the Ball brothers pretty much demolished that today. If I had to pick an NBA coach today, who impresses me? Mm, hmm. I like the way Udoka coaches, just they just didn't pan out. I like the way he coaches. Um, NFL coach today probably would be Sean McVay. Yeah, those sneakers were cool back then. I remember. Phil Jackson to me is underrated. The ego that you have to be able to coach ain't easy. Uh, to me, Steve Kerr, I'm indifferent because I haven't seen him coach up anybody yet that he coached up that wasn't already. So I feel did the job. If I just bought enemy franchise. The problem I have with Dan Tony is he only run you 7 man deep, and he burns out his weapons quick. And usually by the second, third round, they're spent. And none of his teams went to the finals. Now he's great for your individual player. He's great to look good. He's like the model in the window, you know, until that model ain't clothed or how it looks. That's the only problem I had with Dan Tony. Because it's like half genius and half disaster. That's the problem I have with him. So that's how I look at him. But the problem with Kerr is that he doesn't know how to reach back to deal with balance out what happened when without Durant, and then how he didn't, with Clay, how to balance. And I just think that when he had a chance with the younger cats, that team, Jordan Poole and them, they should have had a run. No, he ain't near his level. He does. He comes up. That's a great, great analysis of him because he always got the right things to say. And I do feel for him with his father, POW, and all that. But no, he ain't on Phil's level at all. Mm-mm. For Phil Jackson to go from Michael Jordan to Shaquille O'Neal and then to Kobe, you got to know how to coach. You got to know how to coach. You got to know how to coach. Yep. Problem with Kerr for me, he a role player. He ain't never learned how to coach up a role player. And that's why I have a problem with Kerr. See, Phil could coach up a role player. Phil Jackson sold you on who? Who did he sell you on? Luke Longley. You know how I know he sold you on him? Because Luke Longley had that big old fat contract with the Phoenix Suns and he sucked. And he had people thinking that Luke Longley was the Australian Steve Williams. He was going to go out there and just shark you up. Never mind. But anyway, how that turned out? No, he didn't pick him. They picked him. He won. He did what smart people do. Snow, even though I don't like it, but it does look pretty. Songs don't have to be in it. Nah, I ain't gonna waste my time seeing it. I heard what he said, and he's on that whack tour with Horace Grant and Scottie Pippen. I heard what he said. Sit his behind down. He'll say he was one of the most luckiest flock of seagull jive turkeys I've ever seen. Stole that money from Phoenix. Won't he do a last dance about how he stole that money from Phoenix? Because he sure as heck ain't do nothing after he left the Bulls. Eat oxtails. Uh, I see. This is why I don't pay clowns like that no mind. He got hooked up and he don't know when to be cool and just shut up and be thankful that he got hooked up because he stole money from that team. I like him better as the player. Problem I had with Doc as the coach is that you'll see he left too many opportunities on the table. And people are going to look at him and think, oh man, I don't really talk about Doc though. A lot of people say it was. I don't think it was. Um, somebody was going to do it. And I know I'm going to catch some backlash because I'm a Heat fan. They're going to say, oh, you. I have no problem with what he decided to do. I think the problem that I have with him is that he went back to Cleveland and sucked up to a man that called him every name in the book and said he choked and quit on his team. And then he went and made other decisions and choices. But I don't have no problem with him asserting his independence. Well, you don't have the last dance ain't for everybody. Some of it may be egomaniacal. Some people gonna have a problem with it. Some gonna like it. I don't look at it as this big turning point. To be honest with you, I thought Kevin Durant going to Golden State was more earth shattering than LeBron going to Miami. You know why? You know why? Because Durant had the team that he went to up 3-1. And he also uh um he had experienced something that people wonder what would have been like to see with him at his best because he didn't, necessarily with OKC at his best. LeBron had showed signs, but I thought the Durant move to Golden State was the one that everybody was like, "Oh, wow." That was because then you could team up with somebody from a basketball. I'm going to always say Will Chamberlain. I had no problem with his move. Let me tell you something. I have no problem with people to move. The problem I have though is this: you think you can do it again, and then you think that you're good enough to do it again, and then you lampoon and disrespect Steve Nash, and then you say we don't need no coach, and then you team up with your boys, and they get fat and they lay and body flop. It's very plausible because Will Chamberlain was an unstoppable force. You know, Will Chamberlain was a better all around talent than Kobe Bryant was. I don't mind if LeBron left to go back to Cleveland. It's the way he tries to act like he can put stuff together. For real. When you don't have basketball history, you tend to hate quicker. That's all. Will Chamberlain was something else, y'all. And I'm gonna tell you something. He he led the league in assists. When did Kobe Bryant lead his team in assists? I'm waiting. It's different, but it's the way he did it, which was so cold and calculating. Yep, that's true. You're very wrong because the guy had a finger roll. The guy had inside outside moves. Bill Russell mentally, mentally, and you want me to go here? Bill Russell was mentally tougher than Kobe Bryant was. He had that game 7 in LA where they had balloons in 69 all ready to celebrate. And he was a player coach. So stop with this, or Wiltwood against toddlers and binkies, and he had pom poms and stop. If you don't know, tell somebody you don't know, but don't go trying to disrespect a man's legacy to hype up another one. Yep. Don't tell me no mess like that. That's what Wilt Chamberlain had to go up against. He was dominating a league that was stacked against him. They weren't letting him just run through the middle. They weren't letting him just finger roll where he wanted. Yep. Will Chamberlain earned his points. See, this is the thing, and I'm gonna say it from a black perspective. I hear all this mess about Will Chamberlain. I don't hear nothing about Babe Ruth. I don't hear nothing about nobody say, well, was it real? Was it this? They don't. Because Patrick Ewing and Rick Smits ain't exactly scaring you like Nate Thurman did. They ain't exactly Bill Russell. There ain't exactly those kind of guys that you can make a comparison with. And let's look at Shaq and Hakeem, won't we? Let's look at it like this. You can make a case for him if you want to. Elijah was great, but he didn't win till like what, year 14, 15. Shaq took a while, you know. Competition. The truth of the matter is why I can applaud 60s basketball even better is because you don't need a lot of these teams. A lot of these teams is garbage. Look at the stuff you stat padding up against. So I'm supposed to get excited because you be beating on some puny butt teams or some whack coaches. And then, well, what he did as an individual. You can debate if he's the GOAT or not. But individually speaking, he was tough on a lot of people. He was tough. And he's one of those guys you can make a case for. I bought his book, Who's Running the Asylum. That's one of the best books about basketball or anything I read on. And so I think a lot of will. But it's a matter of choice and opinion. Because the Celtics had a better team and Russell was a better leader. And they were structured. And sometimes it happens like that. Sometimes you lose to someone that's either got your number or just as great as you, if not better. Doesn't mean that you're less than. You just lose to sometimes better. It happens to the best of them. Ain't nobody ever came in the league and won everything. Bill Russell was the truth. He put a clinic on your behind. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't the biggest Cousy fan. Cousy had handles and stuff, but Sam Jones was a beast. And Havlicek, they always draft. That's why I would pick Red Auerbach. If I could pick one guy to be my head coach, it'd be him. The guy knew how to evaluate talent. Remember, he had Larry Bird in the draft a whole year before he came out. This was like almost a 20-year run. Well, I'll say this: the hypes of him gets a bit much, and everything was grandiose with him. But on the court, he was truly one of the greatest. If I owned a mansion, well, I already have a library built in. I don't know about no museum. That's kind of creepy. A music studio only if I'm creating, I can create probably a movie theater for me. Wilt was larger than life, and again, it's not about how many rings you win. It's about your impact. Steph Curry. I'll take Steph over Bob Cousy. And I'm gonna say it on record. You give Steph Curry someone like Bill Russell to play with, he got about rings on his toes too. Cousy could move though. He was athletic, but you know, I just I think I have issue with Bob Cousy because of how he treated Oscar Robertson too. You weren't gonna lose with Bill Russell either. That's what people don't understand about Bill Russell. That man was dynasty, yo. Shoot. The only reason is because he had the nappy beard and he was one of them brothers that didn't have the appeal and he looked scary. But if we're going based on dubs and dominance, please. That's what it come down to. They just don't want to say that this cat looks all, he was scary looking brother. You don't need no footage of you too. Did you hear what I just said about Babe Ruth? Shoot, people will swear up and down about Babe Ruth, and all they got is a picture of him pointing his finger out in Wrigley Field. Talking about you gonna point to a home run. That's how they sell you. Because Bill Russell had every reason to be upset. He got treated like a black man, and he never forgot about it. There's footage out there. There's footage of ABA. First of all, let me let you on a secret too, since you went in there. ABA basketball runs circles around this era of basketball because they were doing everything that they're doing today from the streets. That's why Dr. J is one of the 20 greatest players ever, and somewhere anywhere from top 10 to about 15. Yeah, he is. Because Sam Jones probably didn't kiss up. That's why. A lot of times if a cat don't, that's what happened. Yeah, Mike should be top 10. He get treated like he black. He'd almost think his last name was Milken. I don't know. He must have said something to tick somebody off. 'Cause I don't know how a white cat gets treated like that. I'm wondering though. I don't know what he did. Ulrich was nice. We're not gonna get ridiculous. Tyrone Hill looks creepy, and Popeye Jones, no. That's why. That's it right there. Cause you can have the right complexion and still. Well, he had every right to, and he did better too. Um, Magic, Magic, Kareem, Shaq, Kobe, Jerry West. That's what I got. That ain't hard. Well, if I had to drop one, then I put Elgin Baylor ahead of Jerry Weston if I had to take one off. But Shaq's got to be in that Laker list. He three-peated. Kareem's got to be there. Magic's got to be in. Kobe got to be there. Good. It's tough. LeBron ain't in top 10. He ain't a top 10 Laker ever. So if I took West out, West is the next one. Then you got James Worthy. Then I would say Mikan. Then I would say Derek Fisher. And then I would probably say AC Green or something. He ain't seen the top 10 Lakers ever. So he'd be on a 20 pile. Jamal Wilkes would be top 10. Yeah. LeBron barely if fit in the 20 pile. More versatile. Flowers for me. No, not at this rate he won't be. He gotta win a chip and he gotta be league MVP. He gotta basically do what SGA just did. That's the only way I could see it happening. The hype is there though. That is a beautiful question though. Give her props on that. That was nice though. I never even thought of that. But I gotta say flowers though. Nah, it won't be broken. You saw how much the Heat went through that 27 game streak and they was tired. The problem when you have long win streaks, uh, you you give up so much that so much has to go your way, and then you got the long season. And I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we have a hard time coming with five. I think you can do with most. I don't see how you can't. You know, um, it's just that teams that have had success in dynasties, they're the toughest ones to come up with. That's where you run into a problem. Your Lakers and your Celtics, you be struggling. Not in this day and age. Not in this day and age. I'd have to see what their guards were like. I'd have to see what their bench was like to answer that question properly. Because again, that was an era where you had guys in departmental places where they mattered. As great as Dr. J was, that Knicks team in '73 was beasting. I don't know. But I do think they would have come out though a couple of times. And him and Kareem would have been interesting. But it depends on, you know, point guard play, powerful. You really had to have structure then. That's the difference between now and then. You know, it's hard to say. You know, because if Kareem has a Dr. J to play with, he might not go to the Lakers. It's gonna be close because he's kind of been forgotten. He's starting to, he's kind of almost forgotten. You talking about Kevin Johnson? One of those guys. One of those guys that for a reason they don't quite put him across the finish line. Very good career. I can't have that on here. You got to refrain from that kind of language. You don't have to like her, but you don't want to call out her name either. You know, there are women who are very good in terms of content and what they say, and she definitely did something right because she kept on a major network for 20 years. To go NFL Network and ESPN. I'm not gonna disrespect her like that. I like KJ, But there was something about it just didn't come on the wash though. Yeah, that's a part, but it's also on the court though. That's after the fact. Kenny the Jet. BJ was nice in Charlotte, but Kenny the Jet won the slam dunk contest against Dominique. He had some big shots for Houston. BJ didn't quite measure up to Kenny the Jet. The Jet was like a middle second tier guard. Well, whatever she was on there. And she outlasted Max Kellerman and Skip Bayless and others. So yeah, he was Mr. Democratic and Mr. had his hair parted to the side and all that. I remember. And who was there when magically David Stern and they landed Patrick Ewing? Who magically was there to get the lottery ticket in '85? Yeah, okay. He can't no, he couldn't. Because Kellerman was actually knowledgeable. Stephen A don't like people unless he can stand over them and dump them. He got no love for them because they're a threat. Because you see, when you're a yes person and you just hold your ankles and you don't have no opinions, that's what you do. The yes, the boss. And Kellerman actually stood on something, made himself into a better analyst too. So, but people like Shuffleboard and Stephen A. That's what they like. Now you heard right. He couldn't stand him. He doesn't like anybody that actually got an opinion, that actually gonna say something. Cause he's such a sellout. That's why. Yeah, okay. Cause Skip was able to show him how to. Uh, he was showing him how to politic and act like you're controversial, and yet play both sides and never get called out. Kellerman came a long way. He used to be like that, but he actually got better. He got better. I seen him grow. You know, he got better. He had some valid points as time went on. At first, he was strictly like that. I thought he was gonna be like Dennis Miller and just read off of teleprompters, but he actually got better over time. Stephen A. would kiss up to Skip because Skip is one thing about Skip. He talks crazy. It works. He keeps a platform and he tracks people. Skip could be a heck of a politician because if he wasn't, most people get a guy like a Shannon Sharp. Who else got a recurring life like Skip Bayless though? He went on it because he had some money put on him. That's what it was. He kissed up to the right people. I ain't gonna say he ain't. I'm not gonna argue with you on it. You gotta remember when you're a talking head on TV, someone is paying you to talk with your head and not your mouth. Listen to what I just said. They're paying you to talk with your head and not your mouth because you're a talking head. Of course they do. He ain't gonna be on no network without them having what this script. It's all script. It's like Nick Wright scripted. These cats that you see now are no different than back in the day if you read the Source Music magazine for hip hop reviews or Rolling Stone and them. They buy and pay them to sit there and give their critiques to say what they want. It's not passionate. It's just that he knows how to do an adaptation. Oh yeah, Mad Dog Russo can do that. A lot of them do that. If Stephen A. was that passionate, he would put it to some use because he knows what was going on with the Yankees. But somewhere between Skip meets a broke Joe Pesci. That's what you got. It was embarrassing to do that, but Aaron Boone has always done stupid stuff. It ain't gonna stop him. And listen, if he was managing Colorado Rockies, he'd probably get a 20-year contract. But this is the Yankees, and that just ain't cool. Well, you can be around before somebody, but do you have the face and the voice to make it credible? He got a voice and a face that's meant for radio, and Skip's got a voice and a face that's meant for TV. And that's sad, but that's the reality. I think that you're absolutely 100% wrong. She could not win. She's not an equalizer, racially speaking. She doesn't have enough people on the opposite polar lines. She's not polarizing like that. You're just grasping at straws because you like her. And say you're a proud member of a fan club, but no one is jocking Taylor Swift. You're not hating. She ain't. She peaked actually about 4 or 5 years ago. Ironically, she probably peaked when she started messing with Kelsey, if you must know. Truth is, she got a lot of her heat because she and that whole mess with Kanye helped blow her up, and people did take some sympathy to her. But she ain't that big, though. It's not like that because selling a lot of records doesn't make you great. You know, there's a lot of money that's invested, and when you understand what goes on, you be like, oh, yeah, well, I got to deal with Taylor Swift. I mean, like I said, if you're gonna come in here and cheerlead, you better make sure that this is funny. But I understand. But then I don't. She ain't that good. I wish I got the hype behind her, but I don't. Heard the name. Heard the name. Heard the name. Which is Facebook. Okay, man. Let me see. More iconic is Facebook. Kanye ain't had nobody was gonna support that mess. Ain't nobody sweating him. Oh yeah, no one listens to what they do in the states. Michael Jackson is what's his mess? Um, Underrated. Hockey and me, probably about a 2. I just like I said before, they've come a long way with what they did, but it just doesn't really. But I got respect for it. It's tough to skate on ice and all that. I got respect for what they do. It just doesn't appeal to me. That's all. I don't. He been around 20 years. I don't think he sucks like that, but at the same time, just don't put him in the same name with Michael Jackson. Just don't do that. Amazon, because everybody uses Amazon. eBay been replaced by different places and things, but Amazon still got crazy way. So I'd have to say Amazon. Brown's problem is that he has some catchy songs, but biggest movie star of all time. If I go by his longevity and his box office, you can make a strong case for him. Um, it's debatable. Mm, Yahoo, because I used to use Yahoo. Um, the it's hard to say because Cruz, that's a strong. You can make a case. He's in that argument. It depends on what your criteria is. But I will say this about him: he been the money cat for a long time. Yeah. Mhm. Okay, let's see. Let me get this thing straight. Because there's no emphasis put on acting. You don't get a chance to romanticize the characters no more. And you don't have a chance to see chemistry no more. They want to impede and they want you to kind of they want to make it commercialized and don't give you a chance to grow. So that's what the problem is. Yeah, I just autopilot. I don't really check on nothing daily. I haven't been to a movie theater in ages. And after pandemic, I just watched everything at the crib. And most stuff comes eventually soon. So ain't nothing I'm breaking my neck to go see. No way. No, I don't have no one that I go daily. I just kind of go to sites. I don't go to. Yeah, it is. Okay, I'll be on for about 20 more minutes because I'm gonna give y'all 2 hours straight today. I'm not gonna be on tomorrow and I'll be back Wednesday. So we got 20 more minutes live though. So I'm enjoying the conversation. Everything is good. It's a good show. I'm glad TSP is sticking around longer today too. Some good commentary. Yeah. Yeah, well, what they've done is they've taken everything out of the movies and they've, like I said, they compartmentalized it. So, and they watered everything down because now people are just going to see the same old thing over and over again. When they find something that works, again, I'm gonna tell you like this: they think the general public is stupid and dumb. That's what it is. It's TSP can appreciate this. It's just like the NBA because if they think you are going to accept it, well, you think you got commissioners, people telling you, "Well, just catch the highlights." That's how they think about the public. That worked for all walks of life of entertainment. It's music business, same thing. They don't respect you. They were scared of Napster too. Believe me, when people were getting their music for free and they weren't gonna pay for that garbage no more, oh, they that's why they had to build in the services because it did scare them for it did scare them up. Hmm. Because they gotta act like inflation. And the thing about it is, if you stupid enough, and I'm not calling you stupid, but I'm saying if you stupid enough or dumb enough to pay 12, $15 to go see it, hey, I'm gonna keep hustling you. They've done it in the music with the CDs. CDs never should cost more than a cassette. You do know that, right? Costs way less to make a CD than it is to make a cassette. And they charge them jokers 20, $25. So they've always had a hustle on. They always had a gonna get you sucker mindset. Well, I don't know. I mean, I saw the movie, but I never know. I don't know what was going on with him though. Yeah, well, they don't care about until people complain enough and do enough. It's the only time we're gonna get some balance. Yep. Hey, that's a dinner. That's a couple meals right there, and it's the inflation. So, but that's what they want though. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, it costs a lot of money to go do that stuff. But like I said before, that's the price you pay if you're willing to pay it. But again, that's what the times we're in. I'm not doing it. No, that's a long time ago. I can't even tell you. It's been a minute. Yeah, I remember those. Yeah, I remember when Michael Johnson was beasting too. But then Usain Bolt comes along and you almost forget he ever existed. I just kid you not. Yeah. He's the only dude I ever saw who ran and would look back at you when he running by you. He cracked me up. Um, I gotta start Matt Damon. I gotta bench Ben Affleck and I gotta cut Mark Wahlberg. Because the Matt Damon can do Wahlberg's career, leading man. And Affleck he's really legit. Yeah, that's a good question. Wahlberg came a long way, but I think those other two are better. We don't talk about his career. We don't really talk about him. We will give you Dirk Diggler, but we don't talk about the other stuff. And Turkey was corny. In starting Jim Carrey, I'm gonna bench Will Ferrell and I'm gonna cut Ben Stiller. I like Carrey. Well, the fact is that he was a $20 million man who could put anything out and make it work. And you have to have a connection with an audience. It's hard. Keenan, because Keenan is the creative minded so much. Damon's one of those guys. He's funny, but then he kind of held himself back. He got a lot of ideas, but got to give it to Keenan. Yeah. Yeah, Stiller be making all them facial expressions and sucking his face in. Something like Prince would do or something like that. And it's comical, but it's not. He just does. Talented. If I'm going by talent, CP3. Let's see. Dan Marino. Overrated to me. I mean, hardware dude, it was cool, but it was kind of middle of the road. I never really got into Tim Allen. You gonna start Rakim. You gonna bench Ice Cube and you gonna cut Tupac. Because Rakim and Cube are two of the five greatest rappers ever to me. And they were the pulse. And there's no way in the world. Now Pac may have had more equal impact, and he had an impact like a combo both, but they were better at what they did. But see, some people here will look at Rakim like they look at Wilt Chamberlain and go, "What you mean and why this?" I'm gonna get you, sucker. Gotta go. I thought it was all right, but I thought it was kind of all over the top, over the place. Crush Groove was cool. Breaking was really cool, and I love Hollywood Shuffle. All right, we got 10 more minutes. 10 more minutes. Make these 10 minutes count. Yep. Hey, that happens in real time though. I'm gonna start Barkley. I'm gonna bench Giannis and I'm gonna cut KG. Barkley moved me more of the three. It's just that he didn't get to his full potential, but what he did was I liked it more. And Giannis made himself into a great player because he wasn't that good like that. So I have much respect for what he did. Yeah, Marlon and them settle for a lot of silly stuff. But again, that's what the art. Again, you find what works for your bread and butter, and that's what some cats do. Some cats will take the road, and hey, they doing silly stuff, and the audience doesn't know no better, don't care. So this what you end up doing. Yeah, like I said, he just decided to take what he did. No, but it worked though. He got syndication dollars, and he was a smart TV cat. He had a lot of success. I don't think what you gotta understand about Damien, he hit on TV and film. So that says a lot. Okay. I still got the Terry Pluto book, by the way. Love that book. Bought that book way back in the day. Had some good stories with Larry Brown. When Larry Brown was dressing funky. When him and Dr. Jack Ramsey were like two pimps. That was funny. Well, yeah, but you gotta remember, you're talking about the era it came out in. But again, comedy is like listening to some stuff, it all depends. Yeah. Yep. Okay. You never know. Sometimes they ask for something, then they may use like a pinch of it. It makes no sense. And then you don't get like a crumb of it. One of the greatest shows ever. Omar was like must it was like must see like that. I like Strictly Business, but that's a hood movie. That ain't got no business on this list, so that's cut already. I'm gonna say Risky Business is starting Boomerang off the bench. You gotta come up with a third one that's actually legit. I like Strictly Business, but that was not gonna be in the same sentence with these two. Okay. I'll take your word on it. Animal House, okay. I said what I said. Have I changed my hockey approaches? You act like I somehow got hit in the head and I was in a coma. I said, yeah, man. And I've not changed. I just don't get excited about it. I'm a shrug shoulder. But good for you, man. Real good. Real good. Besides, I ain't got nothing to say. You know what? Your Blue Jays done tearing the Yankees behind up. I'm speechless. I got nothing to say. I gotta put my cap away for another year pretty much. I can't even wear that thing out in public. So I ain't got nothing to say. You might get your wish and you might get to play the Dodgers. I don't know. Yeah. Griffey's. Because Ken Sr. was a champion and he was clutch. And Ken Griffey Jr., depending on who you talk to, are the hubs. Who are the hubs? Hubs. Milwaukee. If Milwaukee play like that, it's gonna be tough. Man, look, Ken Griffey Jr. was something else, y'all. I mean, it's just that it just didn't finish the way it's supposed to. If they, this is gonna be a tough series with Detroit. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. Because they rely too much on long ball. They might, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. See, I put it to you like this: if Ken Griffey Jr. had won one ring, he did save baseball in Seattle, so that was huge. And 30 years ago, beating the Yankees, he was huge. They got a statue from outside Seattle. What else I need to say? That's your predictable score? Well, Jacksonville ain't gonna score no 30 points. They might win, but they ain't scoring no 30. He did. He did. He I remember it verbatim because he had all the integral parts. Um he saw how they were moving. And that's when coaches used to could strategize and they could, create like ballet. It's like they were doing Barishnikov movements, Alvin Ailey, you know. Yeah, okay. I'm trying to be serious here and you won't be a comedian. TSP brought up something got my attention. You up here trying to be funny. Yeah, okay. Top notch to what? The Gong Show? McKinney was able to utilize parts. Paul Westhead didn't know how to structure it the right way. He didn't get the he couldn't he got overwhelmed by Magic and Kareem. He didn't know how to use it. Pat Riley understood all systems go. Yeah, because he thought that he was gonna somehow and what happened was it didn't work. And then it made Magic look kind of like stalemate. So Pat Riley was like run, gun, run, run, go, go, go. You know. So I liked the show. I thought that that one was as good as that football one that was on ESPN. But you know the powers that be don't want nothing that makes them not look in a good light. Norm Nixon was still talking about it with on the Byron Scott show recently. I liked it. Jerry West was always worried about stuff. That's not no lie. That was true. Red Auerbach always flew that cigar and smoked them in their faces and let it be known. Magic was a 304. I'm gonna start Doug Williams. I'm gonna bench Troikman. I'm gonna cut Kenny Stabler. Doug with Tampa Bay NFC Championship game when no one was given a black quarterback and an unspansion team. What he did when he had opportunities, shut people up. Aikman took his pounding, got better, incredible. Stabler could have been better than all both of them put together. He wasted some stuff. He was good, but he wasted some stuff. Yeah, but I saw Stabler look kind of come undone with Houston and New Orleans. Like he all drunked out. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I hope I answered that question to your satisfaction. That's how I look at it. The snake was good, but he could have been better. And Doug Williams always got the most of his opportunities and was successful. And Troy Aikman, he was tough. I'm not the biggest Aikman fan, but he was tough. He hung in there and made himself into a better player. You know, if I'm starting a franchise, I'm taking Shaq. I think his track record spoke for itself for what he did in Orlando to LA to Miami. Well, in Big Country had a point guard and a surrounding cast that covered him, but you know, Sharif Abdul-Rahim was one of those guys that scored 20 points a game, and I couldn't remember 18 and a half of them. So, well, I'm cutting Big Country. I'll keep y'all. Because y'all could pass. Y'all had an interesting game. Yeah. Oh, he talked crazy. He talking about if he hadn't gotten traded by Memphis, they would have beat the Heat in 2013. He's like a crackhead. Well, the NBA welcomed that. They liked laughing stock teams. They did that on purpose. There were teams that actually set up the tank. Yeah, he one of those guys that, he talk crazy. So I don't pay him no mind. But, you know, no one talks about him except him. He's the only one that believed his press clippings. And he still does, sadly. You know. So yeah. I don't know. I never really thought about it, in all honesty. I never really thought about it. Ray was great. No one really debates who's the greatest Grizzly player, though. Sad to break your heart. They really don't. They waiting on John Morant to show up, but that's kind of like by default. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna get rid of him. Step on though, but I will. Yeah, if Ja ever gets it together. I remember him. Had a good college career. Didn't do much in the NBA though. Got hurt. I forgot where it was, but and he should have been better too. Yeah. You know TSP, I'll see you on Instagram. I'll be throwing some videos out. I got some stuff I'm working on. So I know we will bump because I will definitely check out your video, what you put up. But yeah, you got bragging rights. You got your re-signed hockey player and your Toronto Blue Jays just tearing up booties. I will be back on Wednesday. Looking forward to it. Appreciate everybody. Thank you all. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. Appreciate you. Peace.